Alright, it is a Thursday, 9:27 a.m., 3 minutes before the market opens, and unfortunately today is another day that I am not able to trade because the money has not settled. It's really my fault, as salty as I, want to be or can be, that I shouldn't have been prepared like a week ago. I should have done this a week ago. Should have had money, sent over so I could trade, and I figured out which broker I would have traded by then, which is Fidelity. But that's totally fine. I do have a paper trade here, thing with Thinkorswim. If I happen to trade any OTC setups, in theory, I'll just paper trade it. But, as for any listed stocks, obviously I can still use Schwab for that. And yeah, that's going to be the case for today. I think tomorrow the funds will finally settle, but I don't even know if I want to trade tomorrow because I'm just not feeling the best, and then I can maybe start fresh Monday. I'm not extremely sure, but some of these OTCs are not morning panic bounce plays. This one could be one. IOUS, if it has a decent one with a good amount of volume. As for some of these other ones like AURI and then LWLG, these are kind of uptrending. This one could be a morning panic bounce play if it looks clean. AABB, I'd rather see this one uptrend, and CYBL, I'd rather see this one uptrend as well. Then consider those for a morning panic bounce play. That's where I'm at the moment. If there's any listed stock setups, I'll obviously trade that on Schwab with my tiny $4 risk level. And as for the OTCs, maybe I can pretend to do like $100 risk level and paper trade those. But I think tomorrow I will be able to trade OTCs with an actual account, and that would be very nice. Alright, it is 9:37 a.m. It's just so lame, but in theory, I don't even know if they count commissions, but I would have been profitable on this trade here with PUGE. Apparently, according to Thinkorswim, I don't even know if they count commissions or not, but I would have traded 100,000 shares, and I would have made just 20 bucks trading this thing. So this is a morning panic bounce play, but a little bit of a hybrid because it didn't have a morning panic. It just had a gap down, which is, sometimes you just have to pretend, okay, it opens right at a certain price, and if it looks like it's trying to consolidate a certain level and maybe not, just fall even more on top of the gap down, it might be a buy, and it can do some kind of a bounce, right? So I was actually kind of late on this in terms of, being in the setup, but in theory for these two candles, it was trying to trade here, and it broke 48, and then it kind of got to 50, and 50 was not a level of resistance that was not able to be broken. It broke 50, so that's when in theory, with this paper trading thing, right, in theory, at what time was it? 9:33. So yeah, 9:33 was right here, right when the candle basically started at 9:33. In theory, I was in at 51, and I sold the same minutes actually at 53 because it just looks like it hit a top, and it so far is the top right now. It didn't get much further past 54. An ideal entry would have been maybe at 49 when it broke 48, and then it might have been kind of scary because 50 is a pretty round number. It could be a level of resistance, but it did just have a gap down, so there's probably a lot of buying right now. So that was the idea there, and I don't know how that ended up being worth 20 bucks maybe without commissions, probably, but in theory, I'm in at 51, I sold at 53. Yeah, that's $20. So I'm pretty sure TD Ameritrade charges $6.95 in and out, so I would have been up only like $7 had I have actually traded this. And in theory, I could have traded this on Schwab, actually trading it, but it's not that realistic. You might place an order and it doesn't get filled immediately, right? So many factors can go into this, but that was the idea there, and it looks like it's actually trying to make a move towards 55. Now, will it break it? It totally can, because they had a pretty big gap down, but it's a bit more risky than to just have considered the original breakout right here, at 48, or maybe even try to dip by it when it was holding VWAP, although You know, this one is a bit scary. It's not like a recent runner OTC, but it was nice because it did have that gap down here. So that's the case there. I didn't see anything else that I was really interested in. This wasn't going to be a morning panic bounce play for me, and this one is a sub penny, so you know, it's not as clean as PUGE that just has a nice gap down. ILUS didn't have one. AABB is just having one right now, I guess, but this one took a while and it's a bit choppy, so I don't mind missing that one with my Papertrading account. And nothing here with CYBL. LWLG actually is continuing to move after it did that breakout, so that's pretty cool. Maybe a lot of people bought it, you know, here in the morning because of that breakout, but I'll probably look at LWLG because it's something I can actually trade. Although, I mean, I guess the second day of a breakout, you know, is going to have more risk, but it will be something I can watch and learn from. It is 10:16 a.m. and I want to make an update with AABB. I was watching this for a morning panic bounce play higher low setup. Here's a morning panic, it bounces, and then here's a higher low. And in theory now, you know, hindsight 2020, I probably could have considered taking the trade in the 18s, the low 18s, but I'm actually very happy with the fact that I never traded it, because you know, I could have, you know, looking now, oh yeah, I should have obviously bought right here, right, and then risk off at 18, but I could have bought it right here, and then this thing continues to fade, and maybe it ends up being like a double bottom or a lower low setup, and it wouldn't have worked out so nicely. But I was watching this, and on top of this, it was not like a real morning panic bounce play, because you can see here the close was 18.7, which is about, you know, right here 18.7 is the level. So it had a bit of a gap up, and then that gap up got sold off, and then it had a little bit of a tiny panic. It wasn't much in terms of percentage from where it closed the previous day, but looking at the chart without having all of that in mind, it still looks like a setup. So it's not the best odds, but it is there, and it did play off a VWAP. It did offer a bounce. The range, it's okay. I mean, 17.8 and then 19.5, so I guess what, like 7% max. But you know, this is something I've seen so many times. I can feel like I can actually trade these things. And then it started to do the uptrend here. I think, yeah, I had it at 18.3, and then it did try, you know, to hold this level right here, but I never liked it, because although it's not doing it anymore now, it had a large spread. As you can tell right here, you know, 10.10, it had a spread from 18.2 to like 18.5, which doesn't seem like much, but if you ask me, it is. You can just see it as if you saw a stock with a spread from, you know, 182 and 10 cents to 100 and, you know, almost 85. I think that's a bit of a spread there. And then it had a bit of a spread on the way up. It never did something where maybe it did this green candle, then it kind of comes back a little, but not all the way, you know, to the previous range. That would have been something I would have tried to have been in, but it did offer some kind of a move. Again, we're not playing with very much range here, but you know, this thing can try to maybe hold under VWAP a little, and then uptrend and break past that and break this level here. But I think that's totally fine, and I'm super happy, even though I didn't actually trade anything with a real account, that I did trade PUGE. They made something off of it. Even if I were to have traded this with Schwab and commissions, I would have still have made money, which is nice. And you know, the thing with this one is that it had that move, and then, you know, I bought it when it broke 50, because it just looked so strong, and it looked like, you know, it was gonna really try to make a nice move towards the upside after it just had a gap down, and it just took a little break right here. It still held above VWAP, and you know, it's a nice one that it made to 60 from, you know, the 50 level. So it actually offered a lot of range. It is a bit of a sketchy, you know, sub penny stock, because you know, when the stock is under a cent, it just trades kind of weird. But this one did offer that move. Nothing with AURY, CYBL, nothing that I'm interested in. ILUS, nothing. Looks like AABB just had a top here, at least for right now, but I don't know. If it could try to hold above this level, maybe it can continue an uptrend. And as for LWLG, this one's too nerve-wracking. This one just trades all scary to me. I'm just not really that comfortable trying to trade something like that. But you know, it did try to break the day high just briefly, but I wouldn't have really been a part of that. It's just too scary for me, but it is something to learn from, and I will make an update later. Okay, I am here to call it off. It is 8:11 p.m. and I guess I'm just going to go over the stocks and, you know, just show what they did the rest of the day. Obviously, I'm more interested in trading in the morning, especially morning panic bounce plays, any uptrending stocks and stuff like that, but mainly morning panic bounce plays. So after that, you know, it's not like I'm going to be just day trading just random, you know, ETFs like the entire day. That's not really what I do. But as for LWLG, it did eventually fade, and it actually ended up closing red. And now, is it still following the pattern? Sure, you might say it's like a confirmed breakout. If it drops to the original breakout level and then it holds it, and then maybe that's like, you know, a healthy consolidation at the breakout level, and maybe it can do something from there. Sure. As for PUGE, this one, yeah, my theoretical day trade was a buy here when it broke 50 and a sell at 53 because I saw some topping action. It took a little breather, and again it just made a nice move, so that was interesting, but there was nothing else to really trade after that. AURY lost volume, CYBL downtrended. That kind of sucks. I wish you know, it didn't do that, but maybe it can try to hold itself together and maybe try to uptrend again, all for the idea that it could potentially then do morning panic bounce plays, which I like doing a lot. LWLG, yeah, this is the one that went red. And AABB, not a big red day. Obviously I'd rather see a green day, but you know, if this thing can again just maybe consolidate and continue uptrending, it could be nice for the future. IOUS actually had a little bit of a spike, but it doesn't seem that nice. It just stopped trading with significant range. That's all I have for today. Maybe I'll be able to trade tomorrow, Friday, and I'll probably stick to a $30 risk for morning panic bounce plays, but I would be interested in trading larger afterwards. The money would have to settle, and as soon as the money is in Interactive Brokers, I'm going to withdraw that and move it to Fidelity, because they have too many loops for me to trade OTCs for something that then charges commissions. That's all I have, and I'm overall thankful for that paper trade I had with PUGE. You know, it really helped, even if it wasn't a real trade, just to see that, you know, I was able to do something.